What's up, traders, and welcome to my stream. In this video, we're going to discuss the master key, what I use every single day in the stock market, what kind of criteria do I have for the flow, for the news, for the chart, for the liquidity, what kind of strategies I have. I pretty much wrote a very short 30-minute video of my ultimate day trading guide. This is great for beginners and also for advanced to understand what I'm doing every single day. Every single day I wake up around 7 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 6:45, and I look at the stock market. My criteria, first off, we're going to talk about the criteria, and then we're going to talk about the strategies for buying it. This video is going to be around 30 minutes, maybe 45, maybe an hour. I'll try to talk as much as I can, but here we go. So when I open up my screen, I look at my pre-market gap scanner. And this pre-market gap scanner, I'm pretty much looking for stocks that are gapping up more than, I don't know, 3 to 4 or 5%. And they are pretty much moving. The first thing I look at is the float. Right here, the way I set up my pre-market gap scanner is I have really light green for stocks underneath 1 million. So this will be a stock pretty much calling a micro float. A stock underneath 1 million is a micro float. Stock underneath 30 million is going to be a green, a darker green. I have it set up as darker green. I have it color coded. And I have other things color-coded, the volume, the insiders, institutions, the short availability and so forth. So the first thing I look at is the float and the gap percentage. I usually look at stocks that are gapping up more than 30%. So that's going to be right here. So we're going to write probably over here, stocks gapping up more than 30%. So greater than 30%. So I look at my gap scanner, I look at stocks that are gapping up more than 30%. And right now I'm going to probably looking, so, there's many criteria which I find stocks. One of them is from the pre-market gapper, and another one is the pre-market scanner. And I have two pre-market scanners. One pre-market scanner is low volume and the one pre-market scanner is high volume. And then I have a midday scanner. So I have 4 different ways of finding stocks every single day using trade ideas. So the first thing, once I find a ticker that I'm interested in that's gapping up more than 30%, I look at the float. So if it's under 1 million shares, it's going to be a micro float. If it's under 10 million, it's going to be probably a lower float. And I also trade stocks between. I've spent 18 years trading and build a system that takes you from zero experience to real life trading profits. Get 6.5 hours of fast track training plus access to my daily live streams each and every day. I've recorded every single trade for the past 4 years and turned it into a 13-hour course with 500 plus real life examples that can get you from zero to profitable trading. I show you how to spot small cap runners like SMX, which ripped from $5 to $500 in just 3 trading days. That helped me generate over $100,000 on just one ticker. I also nailed one of the top shorts of 2025, shorting Beyond Meat at $6.80 and covering it at $4 a share, banking over $4 million just on one ticker, and recognized at SMB Capital as one of the top shorts of 2025. Click the link below and learn how real traders really profit from small cap stocks. 30 million and about 10 million, and these stocks are going to be like darker green, but you don't need to worry about that because only about 30% of my trades are stocks between 10 million and 30 million. So just understand that. So we got the float underneath 10 million, and then the float between 10 million and 30 million. Next thing I look at is pretty much the news. The news is the most important thing. About 80% of my stocks have news. Not all of them, actually 75% of the stocks that I've been trading for the last 4 or 5 years do have news. But that's not necessarily, it doesn't need to have news. Sometimes a low float moves based on the stock market momentum, and it doesn't need to have news. But I prefer it to have news. If it doesn't have news and it's like the only one on the, over 30% and it's a micro float, it doesn't need to have news. It will run just because the momentum and everybody's buying it. So first thing, what kind of news do I look at, and what I'm interested in, and what kind of news I'm interested for that stock to have when I go read it? So number 1 news are probably your cancer and your biotech are probably the number, 5 star. Going to put a lot of stars here. Probably cancers and biotechs are pretty much the one that make the most amount of money. Agreements are probably going to put it like, you know, 2 stars. Phase two and phase two, like phase two, phase two or three are probably 5-star news. I'm going to put like 5 stars here. So 5 stars for phase two and phase three. You got FDA approval merger. That's like three stars or maybe 4 stars. And then you have a stock that has money. They have a contract, they have a deal, they have a pretty much, I don't know, $20 million for, as higher the number is, the better it is. If it has like a $5 million deal, it's not really a lot of money. You're looking for something that has, I don't know, 500 million or $1 billion in contract and in money, something significant that will move the stock. So it has a contract, it has a deal, it has an agreement, it has a merger. That means, 2 companies combined as one, and they pretty much merge to form one company. So from 2 companies, 1 and 2, they form one company, and this one company, the fundamentals change. You're not only, when you're buying a ticker under the merger, if you're buying, if you're buying this stock, you're buying 2 companies. So therefore, the volatility on it is going to be, you're going to have a much more, a bullish opportunity here. Now, so the third thing I look at is at the chart. A lot of people don't understand charting, and they're pretty much new, and they're like, how do I trade this ticker? I broke it down between clean chart and dirty chart. What does a clean chart mean? That means I look at right here. Say this stock goes from $1 to $10 in the past, I don't know, in the past 6 months. And the only time we had, you look at the biggest volume candle, you look at the big volume candle right here is the volume candle, and you try to pretty much look at the resistance. In this situation, it went to $3. So in the past year, if I had one volume bar of, let's call it, I don't know, 10 million shares or 50 million shares, and this stock went over $3, that's pretty, it only spiked once every blue moon.